Hey y'all, Patrick James, Cold Dead Hands, Black Coffee Perspectives, and now into the fray with
Jon Double Tap Britain, Cold Dead Hands, Midnight Munchies, Food for Thought, and into the fray.
So our last couple of videos, as you can tell, we're kind of off the cuff, rant style videos, and today is going to be no exception because there's just so much to rant about. But we're going to talk about Marie Antoinette Syndrome.
Let them eat cake.
There's so many instances.
Of course, the most recent
is that wonderful governor from the state of Californication, Gavin Newsom. Oh, he was having dinner with lobbyists.
And health officials.
And health officials. So it was okay for him to do whatever was necessary.
Because he's essential.
Because he was an essential person at that fancy French restaurant with lobbyists.
You know, this is a common theme among the big government types, the socialist utopian types.
Yeah, the fascist and communist and proletariat types as well.
Oh yeah, it's an elitist oligarchy. Do as I say, not as I do.
Absolutely. You know, let them eat cake.
I mean, there's so many examples. You know, not long ago we had Nancy Pelosi. You know, getting her hair done.
Getting that hair did with no mask on.
You know, and
I was entrapped.
She was set up.
I was set up. It was an entrapment.
That evil hairdresser set me up.
Must have been a damn Trump supporter.
And you know, again, and it's so common among a certain ideology.
It is.
You know, Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City. Get a rope. Oh, that's a different commercial. You know, he got busted going to the gym.
Yep.
And
gotta work out.
His excuse was, I need to stay healthy.
Right,
well,
but the rest of you need to wear a mask
at
and
home.
do it from home.
All by yourself, no family.
That's exactly right.
No get-togethers.
You can do it on the computer. You can follow along with a group on the computer and you wouldn't have to wear a mask. But if you're going to go outside, you should wear a mask.
You know, it just dawned on me. This is the Peloton thought process. You know, you get on your stationary bicycle in your New York apartment and you're pedaling up hills and cross country on this little digital screen in front of you, and you got a trainer egging you on, and it feels like the real thing.
It does. You could probably be in the Tour de France. Yep, that's it.
That's the elitist mentality in a nutshell. You know, just go get yourself a Peloton and exercise from home. You know, that might work for Bill de Blasio, but he doesn't have to go the Peloton route because he can take his security team and drive across New York, burning all those fossil fuels.
Yep, all those taxpayer dollars.
To go to the gym and actually work out like a normal person.
Yep. It's like, oh, Gavin Newsom. Really? You should have stood up? Is that what you're going to tell your constituents when they say, wait a second, you told us that we shouldn't be sitting around in a group without masks on.
You're canceling Thanksgiving.
You're canceling Thanksgiving and telling them they can't have family in their houses and they shouldn't go and visit anybody and they need to make sure that they're isolated from society while you're out cavorting with lobbyists.
Now, this is the same governor of the same state where police went out and arrested a paddleboarder by himself in the ocean. He had more contact with people being arrested than he did by himself on a paddleboard in the middle of the frickin' ocean.
He might have gave COVID to the dolphins.
Oh, he was an environmental threat.
He could have been. I mean, it certainly Certainly more threat to the dolphins than he would have to another human, since he was by himself on a paddleboard in the middle of a bay.
And this is the
insanity,
the circular logic, the totalitarian thought process. You know, the Philly mayor, he got busted at a dinner too, and you know, his excuse was it his or her? I can't remember. Philly mayor, is that man or woman? I forget his name.
It doesn't matter. Pronouns don't matter anymore, so just call them it.
Okay. I don't know their preferred pronoun. So the Philly mayor called at dinner, gave the excuse of, I felt the risk was low.
Felt the risk was low. Wait a second. Follow the science.
Which science? The science that supports shutdowns, or the science that supports herd immunity? Or the science that... I mean, there's so much science out there. You can pick, and junk science is the new secular religion.
Quit arguing with the science.
Which science?
The science.
Which science?
You know what science?
The science that bolsters my power as a mayor or a governor?
The science that separates you from the rest of the commoners. That's the science you need to follow. And that's the science they're teaching us. Obvious. Nancy Pelosi, she didn't need to wear a mask. Oh, now every time you see her, she's got a mask on. I'm glad she actually is wearing a mask. Maybe she needs to be wearing one of these masks because, well, she couldn't wear the Reagan mask. She never could carry a torch to the Trump mask.
Although I would pay money to see her in a Trump mask.
or the Nixon mask, for that matter. But these two masks, oh yeah, she could wear those, and she wears them proudly, and it actually probably would look a lot better doing so. Yeah. Yep, I said that.
Yeah, and it is, like I said, it's that elitist mentality. And, you know, like I said, it's a certain ideological, political worldview that has this mentality. You know, I mentioned de Blasio. Well, Governor Cuomo, same thing on quarantine. He's like, yeah, I can't. I'm essential. Well, there are a lot of people out here in the real world.
Yeah, there's nothing essential about a politician.
Who think that anything that puts food on my family's table is essential.
Yeah. Nothing essential about politicians.
I realize you think you're something special because you're the governor of New York. But you know what? I'm essential. I got a wife and 2 kids that don't eat without me working, without me bringing in an income.
That's true.
You know, I've got 2 dogs and 2 dozen cats that don't eat without me bringing in an income.
It's the cat man. Listen, you know, the mask, not wearing a mask, the Gavin Newsom deal just recently, that's what you're focused on. That's what we're talking about.
Right.
We're talking about that Marie Antoinette syndrome.
The double standard.
Yeah, the double standard is where, you know, do as I say, not as I do. My question is, who are the lobbyists you were having dinner with? That's what I really want to know. And it's probably not who they want you to know is meeting with Gavin Newsom.
Now, if you want to get into the whole lobbyist issue, then you have this whole gaggle of Democrat politicians flying to Maui to meet with lobbyists.
Yeah.
You know,
on our dime.
You can't have Thanksgiving dinner with your whole family because you're limited to 8 or 10 or 12 people. But a whole gaggle of Democrat essential personnel politicians can fly to Hawaii on your dime
and go visit
for a
Crazy
lobbyist junket.
Go visit Crazy Maisie.
Crazy Maisie Hirono. Hell no, Hirono.
Listen, this little rant isn't about masks. Yeah. It shouldn't even be about masks because masks are so irrelevant in this whole scheme of things, and I get it. Yeah, everybody's scared. You got to mask up. You got to do exactly what the experts are telling you to do. You got to follow the science in it, and the science says mask up because that's, you know, hey.
That's not what the science says. Danish study just came out.
Wait a second. Now you're contradicting things.
I'm following the science. This study specifically studied surgical masks versus no mask. We're not talking neck gaiters or scarves or, some disposable cloth mask. Surgical masks, not N95, but surgical masks versus no mask. The participants in this study caught the Rona at almost exactly the same rate.
Well, okay, so listen.
Now they've been working on this since April, May. The results didn't come out until after the election. Now that's a whole nother issue that we're going to have to get tinfoil hat out now.
This just comes down to common sense. You guys are listening to people with a narrative, the people who buy into the masking theories. You're listening to people with a narrative. You're listening to people who are trying to get you to do something because of something else. I, expert, no expert, have had, 240 to 300 and some odd hours of hazardous materials rescue training. Okay, I had to certify frequently. I went to multiple classes for hazardous material rescue. I've learned and worn just about every type of mask out there. I've also learned that a mask is intended to protect you from the surrounding. This narrative that they've been selling you about masks, that if I'm not wearing a mask and I could transfer that virus to you, that's not the truth. You're not wearing a mask to protect other people. You wear masks to protect yourself. In a sterile field, that is good, unless you're wearing protection from the field around you. And there are masks designed to do all of those things. As you can see, you're watching them deal with viruses in a sterile environment, and they're suited up for a reason. It's not to protect the field from them, it's to protect them from the field.
It's funny because there's a phrase that people on the left like to use in relation to climate change and things like that. It's called settled science. The science on masks has been settled science for years.
Mm-hmm.
Until the Rona,
and then they rewrote the narrative. And that's why guys like me, who have had hours and hours, anybody who's been in the military and had to go through training, they understand what the mask was for and what they used that mask in training for. And I assure you, it's not like the way they've rewritten things for the Rona.
And it's, and we're talking about actual masks.
Yeah,
N95s, surgical masks, respirators, SCBAs, things that actually protect you from the environment or protect the environment from you. We're not talking about...
Even an N95 is only so good.
The 95 stands for 95% effective against certain things.
Single use. But everybody's using them multiple times who can go out and afford to buy an unlimited supply of N95 masks.
And it's all a placebo. It's a security blanket. They spent months and months and months scaring the bejesus out of everybody over this virus that turns out to be pretty similar to the flu, with the exception of older people and people with comorbidities. It's very deadly to certain demographics.
It's overwhelming the hospitals.
Bullshit.
It's overwhelming the hospitals. We're just not going to have any room.
And I can tell you for a fact, my wife has to have procedures done. The hospital that she goes to is a non-COVID hospital.
What?
They simply opted out of taking COVID patients. Now, they have all the facilities, they have the labs, they have, they are a top-notch hospital capable of dealing with coronavirus.
Absolutely.
But they opted out. So when you hear these numbers about, percent capacity, that's the percentage of the capacity of hospitals who are accepting Rona patients. It's all a false narrative designed to instill fear in people to get you to comply with certain unreasonable, tyrannical, unconstitutional.
Do you need this?
I'll stop.
A lot of people say he needs that. A lot of people say I need that. The reality is they're lying to you about something. Okay, because the masks don't work that way. They're not designed to work that way, and they didn't miraculously just turn them into something that they're not used or designed for. They don't work that way.
And science says so.
So, if they don't work that way, you have to ask yourself, why are they trying to sell us on that? That's the key. It's not about being a conspiracy theorist, because guess what? You can find all kinds of reasons of why they would sell you on that. Are they invested in companies that sell masks and produce masks so they make more money by the more amount of masks that are sold?
Well,
maybe. That's lucrative. That's follow the money for the truth.
Well,
are they selling it?
No. Here's part of it. It's selling fear is what it is. And it's selling fear because fear sells pharmaceuticals, sells vaccines.
Well, people can say the same thing about us selling tactical gear. We're using fear to sell gear. Or
No, we sell gear. We don't sell fear.
But the people have tagged us that way all along.
Now, are there people afraid that come and buy our gear? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do we market it to the fearful? No. Do we exaggerate the fear? No. As a matter of fact, like we're doing right now, we're trying to debunk the fear-mongering that's going on.
But you guys just want to keep falling right into it because you don't have an explanation as to why your cousins, nephews, uncles, second and third removed twice died from COVID. Hey, I get it. There's a lot of people who have had loved ones close to them that have died. I've had friends that have died from it. I know it happens. We're not trying to say that it can't happen or it won't happen. What we're trying to tell you is that them selling you on masks is a lie. And you can see it with Nancy Pelosi. You can see it with Gavin Newsom. You can see it with Mayor de Blasio. You can see it with all these people who are telling you to wear a mask while they're out living it up on your dime. Gavin Newsom, Nancy Pelosi, all of those people are taxpayer-funded employees who are telling you to wear a mask. It's scary. You got to do it.
Now,
while they're doing something completely different.
To be fair, there are people on the other side of the political spectrum who don't wear masks regularly. But they also don't.
They're not selling you.
They're not selling the fear. They're selling the hope. They're selling the we're turning the corner. They're selling the we've got vaccines on warp speed. They're selling the social distancing, proper hygiene, things that actually do work for mitigating viral transmissions.
And social distancing, good hygiene. Those are things we should all be doing anyways on a regular basis. But even if you don't, it's just a virus. Okay? It's just a virus.
It's not a death sentence. Yeah, you may feel like crap for a while. And some people may die.
Exactly. But you know what?
They projected over 2 million deaths from this virus. We've had what? 230, 240, 250,000?
Well, we're 8 months into it total, right?
Yep.
We got 4 more months to go for a full Monty year, and we're just cracked 200,000.
Well, I think we're up almost 250, right at 250, something like that. And don't get me wrong, that's 250,000 deaths that are each and every one a tragedy. Now, a big majority of those also go right into the Democrat dirty hands book, putting COVID patients in retirement homes and things like that. So it's this whole I'm essential, I'm elite, I'm better than you, do as I say, not as I do, let them eat cake mentality that you have to see past and hold them accountable.
Yep. Anyways, that's our rant today. We appreciate you tuning in. Gavin Newsom,
Pelosi, Cuomo, yada, yada, yada.
quit selling your fear, because true Americans who want liberty and freedom the way it was intended don't really care. Until then, if you want peace,
Prepare for war.
later, guys.
Peace.